Hi my Foodie Phonics friends, I'm so glad you've joined me today. Let's talk homeschooling for a minute, am I right? It can be tricky, but today's homeschooling lesson is fun for everyone, and I mean the whole family. From young children to middle grade to older children. We've got a bit of literacy, a bit of maths, a bit of science thrown in, and it's all so much fun. And mums and dads, you can sit back and relax and watch your children have fun while they learn, right from the comfort of your own home. So let's begin with today's phonic sounds and see which three-letter word we're going to build. I'm sure you have an idea already. Let's listen to the sounds of the letters first, shall we? S, a, n. Can you hear the word that it makes? S-un, sun. That's right. We're going to make a recipe that involves a bit of sun. Not the real sun. But before we do that, let's have a listen to the letters of the alphabet that these letters make. Are you ready? Letter S makes a S sound. Letter U makes an A sound. Letter N makes a N sound. S-a-n, sun. Okay, now I've used small letters here because when we talk about the sun, we don't use a big capital letter. But for the recipe that we're going to make today, I'm actually changing the name from Honey Joys to Sun Joys. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But because I'm changing the name of the recipe to Sun Joys, we need to use a big letter S. So there we are. Can you see I've got letter S, letter U, letter N to make the word sun. But like I said, I'm changing the recipe's name from Honey Joys to Sun Joys. So we actually need to use a capital letter S. Remember, we always use a capital letter. Sorry, my alphabet's falling down. We always use a capital letter for the first letter of someone's name. So that's our recipe for today, Sun Joys. Can you see this picture over here? It's a bit far. I might bring it closer for you. The sun looks like it's a ball of flame, but it's actually not. It's made of gases, helium and hydrogen. Hydrogen and helium, yep. And those gases actually fuse to form the heat and the flames that we know the sun to be. And that's what makes it really warm, especially in summer. Where I am, it's winter, and although the sun is still shining, it's not nearly as warm as in summer because the earth where I live is further away from the sun. Anyway, the reason I've called today's recipe Sun Joys is because they look a bit like the flames of the sun. So, are you ready to listen what the recipe is made of? I'll just put our picture book back there. All right. So we're going to use honey because the original name is Honey Joys. If you look closely, you can see the shape on this honey jar. Those are hexagons because they have 6 sides. Oh, they're too small to see, but I'll leave it there close so you can count the 6 sides of a hexagon. And that's actually what the honeycomb of a bee looks like. That's where they take the pollen that they get from flowers and they take it to the honeycomb, and then somehow they make the honey. I'm not quite sure how they do it, but they do make it in their hexagon-shaped honeycombs. So our recipe over here says that we need 3 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of honey. But I'm actually going to halve the recipe because this recipe makes 24 Sun Joys. I don't need to eat 24 Sun Joys, so I'll halve the recipe. So half of 3 tablespoons of butter would be 1.5 tablespoons. Do you remember? The tablespoon is always bigger than the eating spoon. All right, so 1.5 tablespoons of butter, just in my fridge back here. Right at the back, of course. Oh, let's not knock anything out the fridge. There we go. I'll use my Nutlex, 1.5 tablespoons. There's my 1 tablespoon. I'll scoop it in. And then remember just a half because I'm halving the recipe. Oh, there we go. I'd say that's about 1/2 tablespoon into my jug. Make sure you put it into a glass dish or jug because it has to go into the microwave. Then next is 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I'll just leave those in there because they've got butter on them. I can't use them for the sugar. Now remember, I'm halving the recipe. So, do you know what half of 2 tablespoons is? If I'm not going to use 2, I'm going to halve it and only use 1 tablespoon of butter. Sugar. There's my big tablespoon, bigger than the eating spoon. Oh. There's my 1 tablespoon of sugar. I don't want to take it too far away from the jug in case it spills. Into the glass jug. There we go. And last of all, 1 tablespoon of honey. But remember, I'm halving the recipe, so if I'm not using 1, I want to use half a tablespoon of honey. Right, there's my honey jar. Let's get half a tablespoon of honey. This Manuka honey is actually solid. It's not very liquidy. Oh, I have to use a smaller spoon. So I'm thinking that if I use a normal dessert spoon, that might measure to about half a tablespoon. What do you think? I think so. So I'm going to use 1 dessert spoon of honey, not 1 tablespoon of honey. Okay? If I was to spread that flat, that would be 1 dessert spoon. Now I can use these spoons because it's all going into the jug together. There you are. We've got the butter, the sugar, and the honey. All in the jug. Now, do you remember when I put the sugar in, it was sugar crystals? Well, when we dissolve it in the microwave, each one dissolves into a liquid. Can you see there they are, all in their solid forms? The butter looks yellow, the honey looks golden, and the sugar is white crystals. If you've been baking along with me for a while, you'll know that my microwave is just down here under the kitchen counter. So I'm going to pop our glass jug into the microwave, and we'll dissolve the butter and sugar and honey for just a few seconds, and then we'll continue with our recipes. Now, the reason that the recipe looks like sunjoys, like these flames on the sun, is because we're using cornflakes. Can you see how beautiful and golden they are? And when they're all together, when all the ingredients are together to make the sunjoys in patty pans, they look like a beautiful golden sunshine. That's why I've called them sunjoys. Let's check our butter and sugar and honey, shall we? Oh, it's starting to melt. Can you see there? The butter's getting a bit liquidy. I'll stir it all up. The sugar crystals are starting to dissolve, and the honey has definitely melted into a golden liquid, hasn't it? There we are. Okay. A little bit longer, a few more seconds, and then our liquid ingredients will be ready for our cornflakes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 4 seconds. Did you count along with me? Let's have a look. There we are, a little bit of solid butter left at the bottom. Oh, there they are. Can you see those little bits of solid butter? If I stir them up, they will dissolve with the rest of the ingredients. So all our solid ingredients dissolve into liquid. Now, our recipe, there we are, all stirred up, says, can you see down there? I'll just lift it up. 3 cups of cornflakes. But like I said, I'm halving the recipe. So I'm only going to use 1.5 cups. I'll have to use one of my teacups. 1.5 cups of cornflakes. My favorite. Fairies and unicorns and dragons. 1.5 cups of cornflakes. There's the whole bag. Okay. So I took 1 cup in, nearly to the top. Whoops. Okay. There's the 1 cup going into the jug of honey, sugar, and butter. We have to blend it all together so it makes a nice sticky consistency. And then we're going to put them into patty pans. But let's remember, I also need another 1/2 cup because I'm halving the 3 cups into 1.5 cups. Right. There we go. Just pick up that one last flake. There's my 1/2 cup. Into the mixture it goes. And I'll stir it all up together. And now you understand why I've called them sunjoys, because the cornflakes look so golden, just like the flames on a sun, on the ball of the sun. Did you know the sun is our biggest star? If you want to learn some more phonics lessons and build more 3-letter words, be sure to watch the previous video to this one, the mud and nut brownies. They are delicious, they are easy, and you can enjoy them in just a few minutes. So here's my patty pans. I'm going to put spoonfuls into the patty pan, just like that. Don't you think that looks like a beautiful ball of sunshine? I do. And then they go into the oven for just 5 minutes. Down here's the recipe. Sorry. There we are. Just 5 minutes into the oven and at 170 degrees Celsius. Boys and girls, this is the part where mum or dad need to help you. They only have to bake for 5 minutes and then you get to enjoy them. Delicious, crunchy sun joys. Thanks for joining me, boys and girls. I can't wait to share next week's recipe with you. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Have a lovely week of homeschooling. See you next time. Bye for now.